Yeah, I'm an uncle now. Hannah. So yeah, so I'm Uncle Mal to everyone now, all the youngsters. So today's topic was we'll get started, innit? Hold on, we're telling more followers to join the video. Get the Josh Brit, get the cash, respect. So we're talking about toxic body count. Because one thing, the Gyanis at the Godwara or the Siane, they don't really talk about calm or sexual issues or stuff like that. It's probably a dodgy place. But if you look at Dasam Grant, Chitiropekan, Maharaj talks about these topics openly, the pros, the cons, the tricks, the traps, the nature of women, the nature of man, the nature of how dangerous stuff like this can be. So for a younger generation, we need to start talking about it openly, and it is hard. So in our culture, back in like our parents' culture or my parents' culture, it was very simple, arranged marriage, and they didn't really date each other. They didn't sleep around. They got arranged marriage, had kids, blah blah, rare. So two people were probably virgins when they got married. Yeah, there was no body count, there was no baggage, there was no drama and stuff. So as we came over here in my generation, the kids started dating each other. The kids started to date each other, have girlfriends, boyfriends. When you're in college, things happen. University, things happen, especially in university, because what happens is you'll have a lot of good guys and good girls, and when they go university, they go wild. Some just don't date someone they like. The thing with calm or thing with lust is it's for pleasure. So I know of girls and guys that have done proper holy and ganja stuff, yeah, and that's different from dating, because marriages will break down, yeah, and relationships will break down. So if someone's on their second marriage or third marriage, or they're on their fifth boyfriend or girlfriend, Sikhi obviously says no dating, but life is complex. People date. There's the stories of an Amritaris dating and things going pear-shaped, or, they're having sex before marriage. There is a rate by Nandalal where Guru Gobind Singh just told him that anyone that has a sexual interaction without an undercarriage, they're not my Sikh. But then you have some Nahangs that will say, we're allowed to have sex, just not with Muslim women. And some Nahangs will say, we're allowed to have more than one wife. So there's loads of opinions on this, Hannah. But today we're just going to look at toxic body counts. So what I mean by toxic body counts is people that enjoy sex and they jump from person to person to person. So every weekend, it'll be a different person. Or as soon as they finish with a boyfriend after 2 months or girlfriend, they'll get another person straight away to replace it. No self-healing, no healing their wounds or trauma. All there is like a chase. It becomes a drug. They like the chase, they like the thrills, they like getting with different people, different sexual experiences. So how does this catch up with people psychologically? Reputational wise, if you're known as a conjure or a hoe or a loose person or a loose girl, it's hard to get a decent rishta. It used to be, but I've been talking to youth these days, and the girls are saying that I want a guy that's sexually experienced. Do you know what I mean? I don't want a guy that's just been with one person or no girl or stuff like that. They want a guy that's had a lot of sexual experience. These are the Koreans saying it. Yeah. So guys you have to lie about their body count, or they're under pressure. Because when we was at school, we was under pressure to lose our virginity, right? Guru Kirpa, I'm a guy that I can't just sleep with somebody just for their physique, or I need emotional sort of attachment and stuff. So I've already really been with my wife, Guru Kirpa. I've been blessed that way. So I've got hardly any baggage that way. But the girls and the boys now in school, if you're a virgin, you're like seen as a geek, or you're seen as, oh, something's wrong with you, you're weird, and or you're gay, or you're this or that. You get bullied into losing your virginity. So that's what I've been hearing, yeah. So hi guys, hi everyone. So the topic's just toxic body count and simping. We'll cover some parts. I'll leave this live on so you can, everyone can contribute. I'll leave this live on so you can watch it after. So psychologically, I've been reading some reports and doing some studies. So we're talking about people that we do have to talk about these issues so the kids know how it can damage them when they just out there getting mashed up. Because if you look at the internet today, it's cool to be on OnlyFans and make millions. It's cool, people are making millions with sleeping with 100 men in one day. And it's cool to be like, I went with him, I got a train ran on me. All this stuff is like making money, and it's cool if you're a dude that's been with loads of girls and you're a pimp daddy and stuff like that. But how does this damage us? It damages us psychologically. So I was reading some studies, and people that have had really toxic high body counts, psychologically they change. And these are studies that have been done by professionals. Yeah. And so when they've had a variety of partners, it's very hard to satisfy them because they're always expecting the next best thing or memorizing old memories with loads of old people. So when they're in a marriage or relationship, they tend not to be satisfied. The other stuff the studies found were they were confused. So they had conflicting imprints within their brain, within their emotions, emotionally scattered. So if you've got a terribly high body count and you've had one bad relationship after bad relationship, or just non-meaningful relationship just for pleasure or just for the chase or the thrills, emotionally they're scattered. So one minute they'll be like, oh, I preferred him, he treated me like this, or she treated me like that, I treated him like this. There's a lot of emotional baggage. So in the current relationship, it's easy for them, and they get in a habit of just leaving. When there's a rough time or a rough patch, they just want to leave. They're gone. They have no resilience or resistance build up, and they get addicted to the chase, to the thrill, to the excitement, to the honeymoon period. Every relationship has a honeymoon period. We've all been there. When the marriage starts off, it's great. The dates, the nice talking, hanji. The kids come, the arguments happen, the sort of problems happen, resentment happens, and then all of a sudden there's no hanji. Gia, what you want? And stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? And people that are used to just leaving one person and going to the next person, yeah, not only do they physically and spiritually damage themselves. I'm not saying that a marriage can't break down or a relationship can't break down, and you can't move on, because everybody wants to be happy, everyone wants to be content. Marriage is part of life. Having kids is naturally built into our evolution system. You know what I mean? We're hardwired. So I'm not talking about 2, 3, 4 body counts. I'm talking about, there's people out there, look at Instagram, look at how everyone's dressing. It's all sexualized everywhere. Sex sells, and our youth they're into this environment more than what we were. Obviously this is a big massive topic. I'm just gonna focus on this topic at hand. So someone's wrote, Aman Singh's put, happens a lot with people that have emotional scars. I was about to get to that. It says it in this report as well. Well, this is all scientists have made this report that I'm reading. So girls always looking to fill a void. It's daddy issues. Guys probably due to rejection. 100%, brother. 100%. So let's look at what this report says. I have the report here, and I just took some main notes from it. It's very good report for people to read. I will put a link to it. So like I was saying, unrealistic expectations. If a person leaves a person and keeps going to another person's site in their life, if they've slept with 20 people, had 20, 30 different relationships, which kind of now the average must be about 8, 9, 10. Do you know what I mean? That's even down uni period, right? Then when it's a long-term marriage, they get bored quite quick. They find it boring. And that's why I know women and men cheat as well. Men are more dogs in it. But women never used to cheat as much because they needed that emotional connection. But I know women that will go in the gym, in the car park, do the deed while the man's at home. They won't leave the man because of financial security, and they'll get, the muscular guy or the bad man in the car park in the car park, shit's happening. And I know people that's happened to that close to me. It's happened to them. And you know what I mean? And so the other thing is, when someone's been loose, whether it's a guy or who's a gunjot or a woman who's a hoe, yeah, and people say, oh, don't use these words. When you sleep around with loads of people just for the pleasure of sex or the chase or the excitement or the thrill, that's what you become. That's what you're going to be judged at. Do you know what I mean? That's the reputation you're going to get. And loads of people have to lie when they get married about their body count, and they have to lie about if they've had any abortions as well. You know what I mean? Even though the girl has the abortion, some mans want them to have the abortion because they're like, oh, I can't tell my parents, we're not married or this and that. So there's loads of people living with that guilt and shame, and the other partner may not know. Do you know what I mean? So that's emotional and a physical scar, and that will damage the marriage. Because when you do your law in front of Guru Granth Sahib, you should come clean everything before and start a truthful path, because the past will come and bite you in the ass. Because gullah spread, especially with social media, internet, everybody knows everybody, and the past can come out. It's highly likely to come out now. Man, we're saying, he's got a question. Do you think dating culture differs to courting for marriage? Dating culture has become the norm, especially in the Western world. Dating culture didn't exist in our parents' or grandparents' time. See, personally, I do think you have to date now, just because to get to know the person. But dating ain't the solution as well, because you only know a person when you live with them. I know people that have dated for 10 years, and when they've got married, their marriage has only lasted 1 year, 1 year, or 2 months or 3 months. Do you know what I'm saying? So, because when you date someone, you can have an argument, then you go to each other separate houses, and you might not pick up the phone for 2-3 days. Do you know what I mean? The dangers of dating as well is that something physical will happen. Do you know what I mean? But even amongst the religious circles, there's so many sects of Sikhi now, like AKJ, Nahang, this and that. You're gonna have to date or get to know each other on the phone a bit and iron out all the issues, the different rates. I was on the wedding day, you both turned up and one person's gonna say, don't read Ragmala, the other one's gonna say Ragmala, or do you read us like this long, or do you read us that long? So, you know, you just can't do the arranged marriage stuff no more, man. Do you know what I mean? And it's good that women are getting educated and stuff like that, but they need to remain in their feminine position. But when they're working, it has to be 50-50. If both man and woman's working, they both got to come home and do the chores, innit? But the gender roles have flipped, innit? That's a different topic in itself, you know, how the gender roles have flipped and how the feminine and masculine energy, and that's causing a lot of divorces. But I've got lives hooked up with youngers from East London, and we're going to do a free series lives on marriage, divorce, and maintaining a marriage and stuff like that. So let's just go back. So when a person has loads of exes, sometimes obviously when the ex has a baby, you have to keep contact or whatever. But when they have loads of exes, some people still keep in contact with exes, or don't tell their current partner about their ex. Or that's just my friend. It's just my friend. Do you know what I mean? So when that happens, and they used to keep in contact with the exes, they have nostalgic feelings, and you know, they have reminiscing the good times with that person, and they're still kept in contact with that person. Do you know what I mean? So it's like that is a hindrance as well. Back in our parents' day, they didn't have exes. What are you on about exes? Exes are put up photo, they kisi biyah kar liya si, and just made a family. That when people can argue, oh, what was the emotional side? They don't have emotional connection. The emotional comes when the woman's looking after the banda, cooking for him, this and that. He's going to work and providing. That's when the emotional connection comes and develops, and the kids come and the kids bond them more. That's how it used to work. Yeah, there was toxic relationships in our past, and the women were stuck and they couldn't go nowhere, and the men were cheating with Goria and stuff when they first came here. But majority of the time it wasn't like that. There's so much noise downstairs, sorry. So what does the report say? So these women and men, they have a habit of jumping from person to person. So that becomes, when any toughness comes, the default is to move on. It becomes a pattern ingrained in their mind. Like, this is getting hard, I'm done, let's go somewhere else. Red pill, bro, that's how to do. Simping. I'm seeing a lot of simps in our community, Hannah. So simping is not like doing seva of your missus or whatever. It's just like not standing your ground. When the woman's wrong, not pointing out. Like, if you look at the OnlyFans culture, Men are making women into millionaires for selling their dirty bath water, for picture of their toe, for selling the a fart in a jar, or to buy their virginity. So these girls as young as 23 becoming multi-millionaires with 1 year. 43 million pound this girl made. This is simp culture. The men are too desperate for women, too desperate for sex, and women know this and they're taking advantage. And they're making millions from it. And also, how are we going to create our lads not to become simps? I see it all over. I know a thing that got done for 50 grand because he got catfished. Then he was paying like £300 a week, because it's simp culture. It's too desperate to get to know women, too desperate to get married. This culture is increasing, and we need to bring young, confident men, and we need to bring women as well with morals, self-respect. Someone said this is why Chitro Pekan is important. 100% Chitro Pekan is important. 100%. But a lot of people don't believe in Dasam Granth, innit? I've read the Dasam Granth, and Dasam Granth is totally solid. Chitro Pekan is too important. Yep. 100%. Every youth should study Chitro Pekan. People say, oh, it's X-rated, but life is X-rated, man. Walking in town centre in the summer is X-rated. Seeing the billboards when you're driving on the motorway is X-rated. Bloody adverts on YouTube are X-rated. Everything is X-rated. The Guru has showed his Sikhs how to avoid being a simp, show the girls how to live in izzat, how to respect their body, how to respect themselves, how to have a good reputation. Because izzat hani hon. Just go to Instagram, type in core, and let's talk about izzat. Go and choose your wife from there. Bikini pictures, everything showing half naked. Do you know what I mean? 20, 30 man passed. Same as the guys, 20, 30 girl passed. Do you know what I mean? When you're going into marriages with all this emotional baggage, trauma, unresolved issues, your past relationships, every time you have sex with somebody, you have residual energy. Do you know what I mean? That it's a stamp on the soul. It's meant to be an intimate soul-to-soul thing. You know what I mean? It affects your aura because it's become such a physical, pleasurable thing. But really, intimacy is a deep thing. With two people get together, it's life force energy coming together. Your body depletes of energy when you have an orgasm, the man and the woman, and the fusion of the egg and the sperm, and boom, it's like the Big Bang. It creates life. That's why if you have too much sex all the time, you're depleted. You can't function properly. Do you know what I mean? Because it is a powerful thing leaving your body. Is to create new life, man. The amount of nutrients you lose and stuff like that. Do you get me? That's why the Asian fighters, before a fight, they used to do semen retention for a few months. So during your life, you will have a grisht. If you're married, newly married, to have the babies and that, yes, you will have a lot of sex. But when it comes to evolving in spirituality, eventually the people do calm down. But I feel sorry for the youngsters because they're going to go into marriages where they don't know the person's body counts, they don't know the past. Loads of people are going to lie, and even if they are truthful, there's a lot of baggage. Unfortunately, you're going to have therapy. You're going to have to really, work to get right. This is why the old culture was good. No sex before marriage. I believe in that. I'm a strong believer in that. I believe that if you had no emotional baggage and no physical baggage when you go into a relationship, two virgins get married at a younger age, it's kind of good. But obviously the careers are coming the way with Western side. People go clubbing, people go uni, get drunk, see what their mates do, see what the girl's doing, feel left out, or she's got a boyfriend, or she's talking about sex to me, how good it feels, I want to try it. Then it's an addiction, isn't it? Sex becomes their addiction as well. Do you know what I mean? Calm is strong, it becomes their addiction. Back in our days, we couldn't go to the shop and say, give us number page, go and give us the porn magazine on top. Now everything's in the palms of our hands. And if it's not in hands, you just flip into the apps and you meet somebody from a different culture, different religion. No one's going to know, innit? People say to marry from back home, but it's probably the same everywhere due to the internet's reach. Yeah, back in the day, you get a traditional feminine goody from the bend, someone with your love vouches for her, happy-go-lucky, innit? But now, the British girls here that are born here, and the guys have got their faults. They're like lazy, they don't train, they drink, they're a bit umlies, the physiques ain't good. With the girls here, the way they dress is loose. They ain't gonna. A lot of them don't want to move into to the sorter's house straight away, which I can get because they don't want to cause problems. But I'll tell you a couple of stories. Like this guy that I knew, he was gonna get married, and she goes, "Have you got dustbins in your house?" He goes, "Yeah, of course we got dustbins." And she goes, "No, not dustbins. Have you? Your mum and dad live at home." She's not even married to him. That's what she said. And there was another wedding, and in the party hall, the the man's mum shook a bit of champagne, and he went over the girl's suit in the party hall, and a tiny bit on her suit. She goes, "Fucking bitch! Couldn't she shake it properly?" The mum heard it, and the guy goes, "Say sorry to my mum." She goes, "I ain't saying sorry." And that's it. They walked out, and that was over there and then. Because she said, if she can't say sorry now, what's she gonna do when she comes home? Do you know? So marriage. We're gonna do a live about the road to marriage. Why it's so hard to get married these days. To find the right partner, the financial pressure and stuff like that. Any questions, guys? I want to call it a day. I'll leave this live up. Any last questions? If not, I'm going to leave this live up. I don't want to make the lives too long, innit? Amy, Bully John. I'll keep them short so people can watch them after. Respect people, man. See you in the next live. Oh, wait. Can you do a video on Nand Carriage, bro? Yeah, what do you want done on the Nand Carriage, bro? Because for me, the Nand Carriage, last question. The Nand Carriage really is between you and Paramatma. It's nothing to do with the man and the woman, really. That's just making a promise in front of Maharaj and in front of the Sangat that we're going to be together till death do us apart, sickness and health and all that. Ajkal keri, you get sick and people leave. You know what I mean? People cheat, but that's meant to be the promise. But the whole Nand Carriage Shabbat is about your soul, which is the wife, the soul bride, and the Lord, who is the husband, Lord. And it's about your two souls becoming one. That's what the Nand Carriage Shabbat is about. A man and a woman, soul can only become one if both of them join Paramatma and you all become Paramatma. That's what the Nand Carriage is about. So that's to Sat Singh. Hope that answers your question. Is there any more you want me to add to that, bruv? Nah. Jello guys, I'm going to call it a day then. I'll leave the live up. Respect. I'll see you on the next one. Yeah, this platform is just going to be for normal speaking people, you know what I mean? Like, just chilled out. I'm not saying I know everything or I know everything, I make mistakes, you know what I mean? We're just here discussing stuff, do you know what I mean? In a normal language, day-to-day language. Love, bro. Yeah, similar to what I've watched on Basic Sikhi, yeah. Yeah, Jagraj, man, done a great job with Basic Sikhi. Took it to Sikhi to another level, innit? He explained deep concepts really well. Do you know what I'm saying? So respect, brothers. One love.